I mean, honestly, the whole home is a night and day difference. Hi, I'm Kerry Covington. I'm a design consultant here at Lamont Brothers Design and Build, and I am really passionate about helping people, and this is an excellent story about how we help people. Reached out to us 3 years ago during a major freeze that happened. They were gone out of the country, but they were out of the country for a couple months when this freeze happened. They got a call from their neighbor one day saying that their water feature out front was like kind of billowing up some water and was having some problems. And so they shut off the water, and then they came home not too long after that. And as soon as they opened the door, just like water rushed out of the whole home. And this is a beautiful home up in the hills of Happy Valley. So it's on a big steep hill. It's 3 stories. And what had happened was they have a fire suppression system in their home. In the main level of the home, there's a living room that's got these massive vaulted ceilings. They must be like almost 20 feet tall. They're huge. And at the very top of that ceiling, the sprinkler head, the attachment to it, froze and burst. What it did is once it thawed, those things are really high pressure. And so it just started releasing all of the water like it would as if there was a fire, but in this case, there's no stop for it because it's just coming out of the pipe, right? So just started pumping out water, filling the whole main floor with the water, filling all the roof and everything with water. And what ended up happening was it hit that main floor, and then all the floor registers started taking on the water and then evenly distributing it through the bottom layer of the house. So, I mean, just an absolute nightmare of a disaster to come home to. I can't even imagine where they were at or what they were feeling when that happened. After they had already gone through remediation, they had a great company out, Oregon Restoration, to come out and do the remediation. They had taken down absolutely everything. They were in additional distress because the insurance company had already sent them a check and suggested that their project was going to cost, around $230,000 to put the whole home back together. Which this is a multi-million-dollar home, massive home, and that was just wildly off base with what it should have been. Him and I started communicating about how we were going to build a plan to kind of bring it back to pre-loss condition, or maybe something even a little bit different. Put together a proposal for him, had him come into the showroom, outlined what the plan was going to be and how we were going to be able to support him. And it was fairly clear to him that we were the best fit because we had the insurance support in-house to be able to provide that level of negotiation and communication back and forth between the contractor and the insurance company to help, make sure we were going to get what needed to get paid in order to bring his house back to a livable state. We started building a plan set, building pre-loss material selection so that we could generate a very accurate estimate for what it was going to take to bring his house back to pre-loss, right? So the important thing with insurance is that they're focusing on what we call pre-loss condition. And pre-loss is very clearly defined in most insurance companies, where everything has to go back to the exact way it looked prior to the loss or the damage. So we instantly presented them something. It was in the tune of right around $1 million to bring this house back to pre-loss. And of course, the insurance company pushed back fairly heavily on that. And we kind of ended up in this negotiation standoff for a little while. Obviously, the clients were really uneasy about us wanting to start the project because ultimately the clients are on the hook for whatever it costs to get it done. We are here to support. We are here to help you negotiate. We are here to provide as much level of documentation as the insurance company needs to make sure that you can advocate for yourself as a client and have the insurance company pay you what is justifiably yours in order to get the project done. With this much of a gap where the client was looking at, $700,000-$800,000 potential out-of-pocket cost if for some reason insurance didn't come through, really kind of made the client uneasy and slowed down the process quite a bit. We kind of ended up at this just big hurdle where the clients weren't willing to let us start The insurance company wouldn't approve any more funds without us starting to continue to prove the work. The insurance company was like, okay, we understand that the scope is bigger than what we thought it was, but we're still not in agreement on cost. And so that was actually a really big hurdle for us to overcome, and it meant a whole lot to us, even though it was hard to kind of convey that to the client. But ultimately what that meant is we got to a point to where we were 100% agreeing on what needed to happen in the project, but we were off on price. Well, that's a really good place for us because we all can say, yes, this is the scope that needs to get done, and what we just need to do is start the project and continue to show you that how much it costs. And so we kind of ended in this stalemate for a little while where we were suggesting to the client that we had kind of extended as much as we could. We had gotten really as far as we think we could because we couldn't really force the insurance company to approve 100% of the funds prior to starting work, which would have made everybody feel great. And said, our suggestion is, if you're not comfortable with just giving us the green light to start, to hire an attorney to help you navigate this problem. And so he ended up doing that and hiring an attorney. And as soon as the attorney got involved, man, the insurance company snapped right to it. And so it was amazing to see the change in communication. And really the only thing the attorney did was say, hey, I'm here, I am the legal for this client, and here's my letter demanding that you let us get started and confirm that you're going to continue to accept supplements through construction and that we're not going to have an issue at the end of this. And insurance basically said, yep, get started. You have enough money to get started right now. Send the supplements as you go through it. That gave the client enough comfort to say, great, go for it. And so we got started. Up until now, we've gotten paid 100% of the project, and everything worked out the way it was supposed to. The project itself was a project that took about 5.5 months for us to complete because it was a whole home. Obviously challenging for us to kind of balance that and production schedules and so on, but more challenging for the client. Like, the client had to be living in not his home and moving from home to home every now and then, as like rentals, the places he was renting would need to be taken over by somebody else, and moving his kids around like that. He's got 2 young kids. And so I can't imagine how tough that was for them. I know it was challenging. And I'm sure that they're just absolutely ecstatic to be back in the home. I think one of the bigger takeaways of this is, if you find a contractor that you feel like you can trust, kind of following their guidance and going through with the process, understanding their level of success with going through that process is going to be beneficial to you and how long you may or may not be in your home, depending on the loss and things like that. And also, a lot of people are really nervous about bringing in legal. They see it as like a big risk, and who's going to win against an insurance company, right? Because they've got all the money in the world. Well, the reality is almost every time, right? Insurance companies want to pay out, but they're going to fight you all the way to the end of it because they're focused on their shareholders and they're not focused on you as the client and getting you back into your home and doing the right thing. And it's unfortunate that that's the world we live in, but it's very accurate. My suggestion to everybody who watches this is that if you're running into some roadblocks, reach out to a lawyer sooner than later to, at the very least, have a conversation about what's happening and when it might be a good time to tag them in or not. But you'll get a lot more traction a lot quicker if you have legal on your side, if for some reason that's a necessary thing. But act sooner than later. Don't wait till the end, if you can help it. They are in the process of moving back in right now, as we speak. Now they're having to buy all new furniture, all new everything, because everything got destroyed. So I think it's a bit of a slow process, but the house is completely finished. They're moving back in, and man, it is a really beautiful house. It looks way better than what it did when we got it. And it's also, we solved a bunch of issues that we uncovered, or that were uncovered during remediation, that some kind of big concerns. There was some structural stuff that was not tied down really the way it should be, and we were able to get those things secure, tie everything down, make it a really safe home. That's another important thing to say, right? We can't just take your pre-loss condition and change it to whatever you want. You kind of have a couple different paths when it comes to insurance projects. The easiest path of least resistance, where you're not going to have any out-of-pocket costs, is you don't really get any options. We identify what the material was, and we put back that exact same material or something that's as close to that as possible and very comparable in quality and price. Versus what a lot of people do is they take advantage of the situation and they say, great, I'm willing to spend some extra cash. Here's how much I'm willing to spend to make some modifications or some upgrades or some changes to, the way the cabinets looked or the material that was in the home. And that's the case for these clients where they pitched in beyond what insurance costs to help bring it to this, killer home that we have today. In the kitchen, it was some pretty big changes, right? Where there was some layout changes, major aesthetic changes, and major material changes, such as, panel-ready refrigerators. The island is a completely different shape than the way it was. There's more cabinets in there than there were before. Full height countertop backsplash through the whole thing. It is a premium kitchen now, and it was not a premium kitchen before. And then we made some other kind of more functional changes downstairs where we filled in some doorways and opened up a few other ones that wouldn't be considered major construction, but were very different than what the house was prior to when we started the project. And ultimately, the clients ended up with an out-of-pocket cost that they expected and that they were totally comfortable with spending, as we communicated that through the whole process to make sure that they understood what they were going to be on the hook for and the decisions that they were making and how much those things were going to cost. So no, they put in some cash to make the house what it is now. Not nearly as much as the insurance company had to pay to bring it back to where it needed to be, but they leveled it up by pitching in. And the bathroom is a great example of that because it was tile countertops, the same tile on the floor, a tub deck with a tile over it too, really kind of dated, mid-early 90s kind of look. Polished gold fixtures, everywhere, a little tacky. The clients weren't even using the tub because they didn't like the way the tub was. All of these things just really weren't working for the clients that they were just living with and may or may not have decided to make the changes they wanted to at some point, but when the opportunity presented itself, they were, excited to make those changes. And so we've now got a freestanding tub in there that's beautiful, looks right out the window, the floor-mounted, tub spout that just really kind of gives you that spa and luxury bathroom feel. Updated light fixtures, updated mirrors, nice, beautiful quartz countertops, a killer tile shower that we grew just a little bit, and a little bit of room to grow it. And so we grew just a little bit, and man, it's a bathroom I would love to spend time in. Yeah. The fireplace is so killer. What was there before was your classic Pacific Northwest floor-to-ceiling fireplace with kind of a bigger wood mantle over the top of it, and it was all stacked stone. Pretty large and just this big statement in there that fit the kind of dark cherry cabinets that they had going on. It kind of fit that style, but it was a little dated. It was a little dark. They have all these beautiful big windows, and it just didn't really feel like it was tying in and kind of marrying that indoor-outdoor vibe. These people, they really wanted to kind of go with a little bit more of that minimalist, Japandi, Scandinavian vibe. We ended up just doing a big drywalled fireplace. It's just a perfect level 5 smooth finish that it's killer with the white built-ins next to it and the lit up cabinets. Man, this place, it just it looks like I don't know, one of those crazy Instagram homes. It's definitely still a statement piece, but it makes a very different statement. It's a little bit more calming. It makes everything feel a little bit more open versus the stacked stone felt very demanding. It was heavy, it was bulky, and it felt almost like an obstacle. Man, it's an impressive, almost emotional change.